the tradition that we have is one that we're encouraged to respond to what's happening in a way which is wise, and then also in terms of Dhamma teaching, Dhamma reflection, it's often a kind of idiosyncratic expression according to the teacher or the practitioner who's sharing reflections based on his or her experience. Principles that make sense to the people sort of right there at the time. So rather than a kind of academic approach where we're teaching doctrine that we can read about in books, you're having something which is coming from the heart and is a response. And in that sense is my experience of the practices as we've been trained and taught it is one where you're really trusting more and more, and you're in being in the present moment with awareness and learning from one's mistakes and one's experience, rather than trying to find a way to think about how to be, whether it's the right Buddhist way as we conceive it, and then try to make ourselves be that way. But instead we're living our lives, and we use the context of our lives as the stuff of our practice, and the lessons that we learn are through our own feelings, our own emotions, our own perceptions, our own life. And it's a real practice. It's a grounded practice, and it's one that's supported by relationship. Then, because we're not just doing it on our own necessarily. There are times when we are encouraged to be in solitude, and where that's very helpful. But generally, we're as we all know, we're using our lives in the world with other people as our practice. So relationship helps. The Sangha is a community, and we extend it out to those who are in relationship with us. We're independent on people supporting us in various different ways. So there's a lay community, a monastic community, and a greater community that's formed by their interrelationship. And we all experience that personally and in a very real way. And so the times that we're challenged, whether it's our own stuff coming up, just because we're all screwed up, essentially, and our stuff will bubble up, whether we like it or not, sooner or later, or whether it's challenges that aren't just our own stuff bubbling up, but it's coming from our life together, from having to live with someone who doesn't see the things the same way that you see them, or is rubbing you the wrong way for whatever reason, or whether it's external events, the winter's too cold, or the summer's too hot and dry, or there's a fire that comes and unexpectedly throws everything up in the air to teach us. We've got these challenges that come, and our practice then is to not be a perfect person in the face of them, but to learn from our actual experience when we do get moved in the ways that we get moved. So we have a constant opportunity to learn just being, even when nothing seems to be happening. And yet, when things do happen in a way that really tests us, we get a really rare opportunity to learn, and not just in terms of the subtleties of concentration practice, or learning about how impermanence is true, which of course is part of the lessons we learn when, say, a disaster comes through like this, but very much in terms also of just the basic qualities that support our life as human beings and our practice generally, like generosity, courage, kindness, honesty with our feelings. Sometimes we feel feelings that we think we shouldn't feel, and again and again have to remember that it's not about feeling the right feelings, it's about being accepting in a mindful way, with awareness of the feelings that we have, and yet not believing in them fully, not becoming them. And so these are lessons we're always learning, but the times that are really difficult, whether it's personal times when we're going through a dark night of the soul, whether it's communal times, there's sort of some kind of big challenge in the community, either different individuals or the whole community, or whether it's like this, when you really have a disaster that comes in and threatens everything. We get these opportunities to learn, and the kinds of barmi, the ways that we can develop our minds are not just seeing the subtleties of the changing nature of the world and those lessons that we learn through concentration and insight, meditation, but very much just how do I learn by being with this situation in a way which will express kindness and generosity, which won't be coming from fear or greed or selfishness, and which will be helpful and supportive to those that I care about. And we find that we care about people we didn't even know we cared about. So they can be times, of course, even though it's kind of almost cliche, but there's a truth there that I'm sure you've all experienced. And reading some of Venerable Jyotipalo's updates, I can see that's true, that these times that are disasters in a very real way also have the silver lining of being times when people in society, people in community come together in ways where they otherwise aren't, and they haven't done. So that can be, it can lead to difficulty and strife, or it can lead to a greater bonding and just even I've been watching some of these sheriffs' conferences and just really feeling how from afar how special this time has been in terms of people coming together and supporting each other in the face of real difficulty. And it's not the case in many places in the world where there aren't as many, the fundamentals of sila aren't as strong in people. Maybe there's more trauma in the society, or whatever the conditions are. Sometimes when things like this happen, there's a lot of strife and difficulty, and it leads to division and anger. But it's been inspiring seeing the sheriff and the different people responding, and I'm sure that all of you here have had an experience which will always be remembered, but also has been a time to learn. It's a special opportunity because we do get into habitual ways of taking things for granted, and these times when it's really shown to us that we cannot take anything for granted in the material world. And that includes the way our minds work. We can't even take for granted that we're going to be sane tomorrow. We could fall down, hit our heads, and we'll lose all our memory and go gaga. So our awareness will be there, but our functionality might not. Our perceptual ability might not. And so the principles that we're looking to discover for ourselves are really important and available to us. Those principles of seeing into what we identify with and becoming more familiar with and more comfortable in the present moment, in how we are being with what's happening now, without focusing as much on trying to make the way it is the way we want it to be or think it should be, but really actually just again and again, every moment, being with this in a way which is wise as we can be. And wise not being a mentally, not a wise, wisdom in this sense not being a mental word where we're just talking about thinking wisely about things, but wise in terms of our emotional response, wise in terms of how we feel. And this will be supported immeasurably by the Brahma Viharas, by the development in our lives through our relationships, in whatever way we've been able to do it, of loving kindness and compassion, of the kind of rejoicing in other people's good fortune that we can do, and especially situations like this. And then equanimity is really something which will stick with us and support our insight. So it was inspiring for me also with Lumpal at our Katina last week, and then the Abbott's gathering was about to start, and Lumpal got his emails from the other side of the planet telling him something was happening here. And we did have a message on the phone, but we don't have a very good message answering system. The technology part is okay, it's just the human part is not always so on the ball, but we got the message, and then it was just inspiring for me to see Lumpal react so equanimously, and obviously with love and concern, but not being not kind of diving into worry, or just basically really even and very kind of level and wise with it, in the face of what we really looked like might be no monastery left, just ashes. And so it was inspiring for all of us. It brings us together, these things. And our Dhamma practice is, it's helped when we're challenged. And it is an opportunity always. We always have an opportunity, but these opportunities are because they're rare, they do open up special avenues for our practice. So, it's easy to just dismiss or overlook, say, the value of these things when we think about them, and especially sometimes as Buddhists, when we adopt Buddhism as a philosophy, we can get, we can say, oh well, yes, I know, it's all impermanent anyway, everything was okay, and kind of just look over the value. But if we're really present for ourselves and for each other, without just getting into our heads about it, then we can see there's a real opening here, and a way of coming back to ourselves. These times when we're threatened, when we go on Tudong, it's one reason is to not only live in more uncertainty and a little bit less kind of guaranteed material security, but also, you can come into situations where you don't know if you're going to be all right, and you're not looking for dangerous situations, but it's recognized that it can be useful when you come face to face with your death. Contemplating death is something we're encouraged to do, and yet when we're forced to do it because it might really happen, it's something else. And that's greatly valuable if we choose to use it for reflection in these ways. Really staying in the present moment is the key, I would say. That would be, rather than going up into my ideas about the practice or the life or any of it, but just it's always right here and right now. And then we see, well, look, we've still got, we've got a roof over our heads, we've got food for the day, we've got medicine enough, we've got enough clothing. That hasn't changed. It could change, but it hasn't. And then all the rest of it. Are we going to have a monastery? Are we not going to have a monastery? Is it going to be? Do we have to start another 25 years of hard work to build those buildings back or not? And how is this affecting me? All of that. It's moving in the mind and in the heart. But whether we move with it and suffer with it is always up to us. We have that. We have the capacity to free ourselves from just blindly being caught into it. So I really appreciate that I've been able to come during this time too, just to, in some small way, give some kind of what? Gamlang Jai. Yeah. Not that you need it. You're all in a good place, with Lumpur especially. So, but Gamlang Jai is Thai for, how would you translate it? Giving good energy, giving some encouragement.
Encouragement, yeah.
But I feel encouraged myself. So thank you for allowing me to come and be part of it. I was scheduled to be coming to the Katina, as you know, and so the Katina was in Fremont, so there I was. And now I have a chance to come up here. I'll probably try to come up again. I have a talk on that was previously scheduled at Stanford tomorrow night. And I'll come back after that. I think my flight is on Friday. So I'll hopefully help you empty the compost bucket and do the other things that need to be done to help in the monastery. And I really can't say how happy we are, and I am that you're all well and safe, and the monastery is well. It's been so much good that's happened. Sadhu, sadhu.